of the individual. Our world is challenged, and so was the world of the beloved Prophet. He didn't live in a better world. Humanity is always the same. The difference is a difference of degrees. So the Prophet made it very clear to them. He said, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ. And I don't think we Muslims understand that. I don't think we understand that. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ. This verb اعتصم means, it doesn't mean to hold on like this. You will understand it better if I say never lose it. Never lose it and never lose it. Hold on with your life. Now if we are to hold on to the Qur'an based on this verb, I'll tell you some of the things we need to do. Let us assume we are talking about the Arabic Qur'an. Let us assume we are talking about the Arabic Qur'an. Then we have to learn to read it. We have to learn to read it. We have to study its language. This is all about studying. This is not about dreaming or making dua and say, God, you do it. This is all, we have to learn to read it. Because the way you and I learn to recite the Qur'an can be an encouragement for us to be attached to it or not. Some people, the way they have learned to read the Qur'an, there is nothing so attractive and magnetic in it. There are others who have learned to read the Qur'an that when they recite, just recite the Qur'an, there is magnetism in it for them and those who listen to them. So we're talking of just reciting. I'm not talking about blessings here. There's no question of blessings. I'm talking of learning to read Arabic. If you take a survey of the average Muslim in the average Jamaat, 9 out of 10 can read the Qur'an properly. I'm talking about Arabic. 9 out of 10 cannot read the Qur'an properly. When you talk about studying the language of the Qur'an, 9 out of 10 don't know the language. 9 out of 10 are not students of the language. These are not important issues in their life. Yet they are very busy Muslims. They are very active Muslims. They are heads of organizations. They are heads of masajids. Right? There are many people who lecture on the weekend on Islam. And they hardly have a clue of the language in which the Qur'an was written. When you do that, you're dealing with the husk. And the corn is gone. Because the depth of the Qur'an is in its language. Because you can look at the translation, what has been there around. And the translation, with all the good efforts, is just the husk. Become a student of the Qur'an and you will understand the corn that you're missing. But then we go to the third point. We have transferred from the point of learning to read, just learning to read Arabic, which has been a problem for Muslims. Although they're fanatic about reading Qur'an in Arabic. The second thing is to study the Arabic language. And to become proficient in it. That nobody can fool you about it. That's the main thing. 3 is to even memorize the text of the Qur'an. 4 is to understand the message of the Qur'an. 5 is to understand the rationale of the Qur'an, the dialogue of the Qur'an, the sense of the Qur'an, the intelligence of the Qur'an. 6 is to understand the relevancy of the Qur'an to human society. And 7 is to understand the Qur'an is talking to you and talking to me. We are nowhere there yet. These kind of things are not normally told. They are not taught the average home, the average mother, the average father, the average children are told to go out and become engineers and doctors and lawyers and become everybody, but make excuses for not learning the Qur'an. And the average mother and father sleep very well that their children are doctors and lawyers and big ones in society. But they are not bothered. If the mother and father don't bother about what is their decadent position in life, why do they worry about the children? So the message of this beloved Prophet to me and to you is in this verse of chapter 3, Surah Al-Imran, verse 103. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. All of you, stay connected with the guidance of Allah. Pursue the guidance of Allah. Glue yourself to the guidance of Allah. Hold on to the guidance of Allah. Don't lose it. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا has two meanings here. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا means hold on to it and don't split up. All of you hold on to it. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Anyone who detaches himself from the guidance of divine loftiness and holds on to other things has made tafarruq in his life. A firqa is not only a sect. You and I are not only sectarians when we establish sects, but you and I are sectarians when we do what? When we abandon the guidance of Allah and we hold on to anything else. And this is the dilemma of Muslims. Wherever you go in the world, you have a very tiny percentage of people who are students of the Qur'an. And you can see the ignorance in the Muslim communities, you can see the extremism, you can see the prejudice. Right? Because if we were students of the Qur'an, we'll be enlightened. Qur'an and ignorance doesn't go together. Qur'an and stupidity doesn't go together. Qur'an and backwardness doesn't go together. Qur'an and hopelessness doesn't go together. But what? We are told, become a part of Qur'an, read Qur'an many, many times. You don't have to study it. You don't have to understand it. They abuse the meaning of the Qur'an, that you can just listen to the Arabic of the Qur'an and you will get blessings. They quote the Qur'an, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنْصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. And they say, well, if you listen to the Qur'an in Arabic, you get blessing. This Qur'an was revealed in Arabic because the Prophet was an Arab. You and I who live in this age, if we are interested in the Qur'an, it is in our interest that we find out how to get that message that is in Arabic in the language we speak. Going and behaving like an Arab while you are not an Arab. And by the way, there are many, many Arabs who don't know the Arabic language of the Qur'an. There are many Arabs who don't know the Arabic language of the Qur'an. So this beloved Prophet did bring something that is called religion. You hear what he told you and me? He said, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. This is something for you and I to reflect on. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ فَأَنْقَذَكُمْ مِنْهَا كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. You can see human society is degenerating little by little. Human society is degenerating little by little. We are not different from the Arabs of the time of the Prophet. It is only divine guidance can